Every day, bring League of Legends characters to life with their original voices. Day 38, Irelia. I am Irelia, Xan Irelia. Since I was a child, I've been fascinated by the movement and grace of the human body. The twist of a wrist, the touch of a foot on the ground. They've always captivated me. My grandmother taught me the traditional silk shawl dances of our region. Though I was skeptical about the claimed mystical ties to the spirit of Ionia, I truly loved dancing. I made up my mind. I would master this art. So I left home and journeyed to Placidium in Navori to train under the most respected dancers in Ionia. Every movement, every step, brought me closer to who I was meant to be. But peace never lasts long. Rumors began to spread of foreign ships spotted on the horizon. That alone was enough to disturb the tranquility of Placidium. I felt something was wrong. I returned home, only to find it unrecognizable. My village, once filled with the laughter of children, was under occupation. Soldiers from far-off Noxus, clad in steel helmets, marched down our streets, pushing unarmed civilians with the shafts of their spears. And my home, it was no longer mine. Admiral Ducal had seized it and turned it into quarters for his officers. My family, my father Leto and my brothers, they must have resisted. Now they lay buried in our garden, in graves with no markings, no names. Something inside me shattered. They were looting our home. Among the stolen things was our family crest, a large emblem forged from metal. I ran forward and snatched it from their hands. The admiral struck me to the ground himself. Then he ordered his soldiers to dig a grave for this foolish girl and had the emblem smashed with a heavy iron hammer. Lying on the ground, my eyes locked onto the broken pieces of the crest. From deep within me, I felt a strange rhythm rising. At first, a whisper, then a pounding drum. The metal shards, they began to move, spinning, trembling, as if dancing by themselves. And I felt the calm joy of the ancient dances again. With a single sweep of my arm, I launched the shattered pieces into the air. They pierced through two Noxian soldiers like blades. As Ducal and his men stared in shock, I gathered the fragments and fled the village. In the quiet forests beyond, I mourned my family. I remembered everything my grandmother had taught me. I realized then, those techniques were far more than traditional dances. They were powerful methods of expression, and more. The Noxian invasion was shaking the fragile balance of the First Lands. Rumor had it that even Karma, our spiritual leader, was forced to wield deadly magic against the invaders. But her followers had retreated to the everlasting altar and opposed further violence. Many among the Navori refused to stay silent. A resistance began to form. I joined them. I danced for them, for our fading culture, under the trees, beside campfires, in forest clearings. I was barely 14 when I found myself back at Placidium. The resistance fighters I joined had aligned with the local militias sworn to protect the monastery and its untamed sacred gardens. But Noxus knew well what Placidium stood for. Jericho Swain, one of the most cunning generals in their ranks, captured the site and took its defenders hostage, hoping to lure any would-be rescuers into his trap. That was when I stepped forward to fulfill what was written on my soul. I broke free from every restraint that had ever held me back. I unleashed the full potential of the ancient blade dance I had mastered, a storm of elegance and fury. A dozen of Swain's elite soldiers fell before me. The prisoners were freed. Noxian lines descended into chaos. And at last, I struck down the general himself. When I raised his severed arm in the air, that moment marked the turning point of the war. From that day on, the name Xan Irelia echoed across all of Ionia. People looked to me as their leader. Though I never asked for it, I led the resistance through 3 long and difficult years, until we claimed victory at Dalu Bay. There, I finally cornered Admiral Dukal, and took the revenge I had long yearned for. Even though the war has long ended, Ionia is forever changed. The First Lands are divided. Rival factions battle each other with as much cruelty as they once faced from Noxus. Many look to me for answers, for guidance, for strength. And while others would embrace such power without hesitation, I remain uneasy. Because all I've ever wanted is simply to dance again, alone.